Mobile game ads are a plague on the face of YouTube. Unless you have AdBlock installed, these things have been inescapable for nearly a year as of now. Sometimes before going to bed, I'll just casually be browsing YouTube on my phone, and since my phone is a 3-year-old piece of crap with hardly any memory left on it, I'm basically forced to go without AdBlock. And trust me, there is nothing more infuriating than having to sift through these obnoxious abominations at the beginning of every other video. They've essentially become the spiritual successor to those awful kids channels from a couple years back. You know the ones. Sure, these ads are somewhat more family friendly, but there's still explicit content that finds its way through the cracks. All footage you are seeing throughout this video is courtesy of i3stars, who has an entire channel dedicated to compiling bad mobile game ads. So if you've been using AdBlock and aren't aware of what I'm talking about, their channel is a good way to expose yourself to the garbage heap that is the mobile game market in 2019. Most of these games look like the kind of crap that might have been passable if released on Newgrounds back in the early 2000s, but feel extremely dated and out of place nowadays. They look completely boring and oftentimes barely classify as video games in the first place. Say what you will about Mario Kart Tour, at least that's an actual fucking game. Most of these mobile games have about as much gameplay as Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, and somehow manage to be even worse.
Take your damn clothes off!
The ads oftentimes are blatant lies, and reality barely look the way they are advertised. The animation style used in the ads looks like a complete dumpster fire, and is at least 15 years out of date. It's like the Go Animate kids struck a deal with the mobile game company so they could make a fortune. With production values so bafflingly awful, I genuinely have to ask if anyone actually plays these games. I know that mobile games aren't exactly the most enlightening form of entertainment out there, but this stuff isn't even worth playing while on the toilet. I'd much rather sneak my Nintendo Switch into the bathroom so I could take a gamer poop. Sure, your phone is much smaller and more portable, but you'll get a much better bathroom gaming experience from that. And I hate to sound like one of those kinds of people, but if all you ever play is mobile games, then chances are you aren't a real gamer. I can still remember a time back when the iPhone was still relatively new, when true mobile gaming was really starting to hit its peak, with games such as Plants vs. Zombies and Angry Birds. While those games weren't exactly anything deep and did appeal to a mostly casual demographic, you could see the heart and soul that went into them. Nowadays, practically everyone has a smartphone in some form or another, to the point where we don't even call them smartphones anymore. And with that comes scam artists selling half-baked rip-off games with meme-worthy ads. Remember Mafia City? But I guess that's how a mobile game works. If you are bored and constipated on the toilet, you simply don't give a shit, and you'll do anything to keep yourself entertained. But considering how big the mobile game market is, I don't expect these awful ads to go anywhere soon, unless YouTube steps in and takes action against them, since they are essentially spam at this point. At the end of the day, I recommend using AdBlock if you want to avoid these atrocities.